Hello YouTube, it's your boy Jack here, and I'm really excited for this video, how to climb out of every elo as an ADC. I'm gonna go all the way down from Iron, all the way up to Challenger, to show you exactly what you need to work on in each elo to escape it and get to your desired rank. So, what is expected of the ADC role? It's a carry role, one that carry is literally in the name, attack and damage carry, so it's expected of you to be very selfish and to be the one that carries most of the games. Now, what does that entail? What does that mean? How do we carry as ADC? Well, there's a few things that we really want to look for that I can recognize in any good ADC. You will need to farm well, you need to position well in team fights, you need to output most damage, you want to never die, never face check, and never tank random damage, always try to stay high HP. If you are doing those things, chances are you're a pretty good ADC, but there is a lot more to the role than just that, because if that's all you need to do, then we would all be sitting high and mighty and Challenger. And unfortunately we're not, so let's jump right into the specific elos and what each elo needs to focus on to improve. Let's start with Iron. Iron is an elo that I don't want to be toxic, but if you are generally stuck in Iron, that's kind of weird. It's an elo that Riot made that is quite hard to be stuck in. Usually when I see Iron players and they're stuck there, they have either ping or FPS issues. So that's be the first thing that I would ask about is like, okay, are your settings set to the lowest? Do you have internet issues? Could you fix that? Could you potentially lower down your video settings and fix your performance issues? If you don't have any performance issues and you're still struggling, just play scaling champions, play the champions that you enjoy. Hopefully some of them scale pretty well because Iron has the longest average game time out of any time and out of any elo. And just kind of play the game and you'll improve. Iron, if you start out there, it's tough, but you will improve. Just keep at it, keep watching videos, keep learning, keep growing, and you'll get out of there in no time, beast. I'd recommend putting on quick cast and turning all your settings down to the lowest. Good champions that would be for Iron would be stuff like Vayne, Jinx, MF, just good early game, good scaling, good everything. Bronze. Okay, so we are now gotten out of Iron and we've gotten into Bronze. What do we do here? It's very similar to Iron. We are still going to be on those scaling mindset picks. I like Jinx, Ashe, Sivir. Easy, good scaling champions, have good wave clear, have good early games, and are very easy to play, easy to pilot. And I would recommend to try to stick to those 2 to 3 champions. And you need to play enough games. I think many people, they underestimate how many games you need to play, especially when Riot has added this 3-split format. Maybe they will change it in the future, but right now you need to play quite a few games to actually climb. You should try to fight every game for level 2. You should always try to play for push. If you can play for push, get level 2 first. Fight when you have level 2 and they're level 1. And that's going to give you just a great early game lead. And then you want to also work on last hitting and farming. In Bronze, I see people miss so many CS. I see they still haven't really quite understood that minions are the majority of your gold income. You should be able to just like farm better, you know? I think farming is one of the best things to work on as a low elo player because it's very uninteractive, you know? If you're good at farming, you're going to have good farm every single game that you play because it doesn't matter how good the enemy team is. You know, it's you versus PvE. I mean, it's you versus minions. If you're doing it well, you're gonna do it well. So I would really work on that. And you should definitely kind of adapt the ASAP mentality. Never give up, never FF. People throw their lead so easily. And the game just doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter if enemy top laner has 10 kills. He'll probably, I don't know, try to like solo split push against 5 people and then he'll die and then his team will fight 45. And it's like every game is gonna be really winnable. Don't tilt, don't get sad. Don't get disheartened. Just keep playing, keep trying, and you'll probably win a lot of those games. Not just a small percentage, but a lot of those games. And now we're on to Silver. Silver. This is where people are starting to get a little bit better, and you need to put in a little bit more effort than other people. I would focus on consuming a lot of League-related content, be very open-minded, and try to absorb all the information like a sponge. A lot of common errors I see in Silver player is that they're usually always overgrouping. That I think Silver is where they really start to think that you need to always be together as a team, And this leads to just really bad macro where you're not farming at all. Try to kind of think to yourself a little bit, does my team actually need me here? Can I farm this wave instead? Can I do this jungle camp? What's going to happen here? Try to think a little bit more about like, why do we group? There needs to be a reason to group. The grouping should not be the default. It should be we group for something. And if that something isn't there, then don't group, you know, just get resources yourself. Because when you're all together, there are so many resources on the map that are being lost. There's usually also pretty bad mouse movement and clicks. I would work on your mechanics a little bit, try to move your mouse a bit closer to your character, try to increase your APM. APM is usually really low in silver, and you don't need to have crazy APM for League of Legends, but it's usually really low in silver. I also try to like look and judge the map instead of just walking where the team is aimlessly. A bit like I said before, like try to think, what are we playing for? What's the objective? What's gonna happen here? Why is this happening? If you can just ask yourself these questions, even if it doesn't lead to actual gameplay, it just makes you so much smarter about the game when you start to understand that there should be reasons for things to happen in the game. And good champions here would be something like Vayne, Jinx, Ashe. I'm saying Jinx, Ashe for pretty much every single one. I just think so good low elo picks. Pretty much any good scaling, easy to play champion is going to be great for silver, gold, bronze, iron. So it doesn't really matter exactly which one you enjoy the most or which one you want to do. Just any champion that you feel like scales well and you feel like you have decent mastery on is going to be great. I'd also try to work a bit on understanding enemy range and enemy threats. A lot of people in silver are kind of scared of nothing. They see enemy assassin and they're just scared without thinking like, and every champion in this game is about cooldowns at the end of the day. Every champion in this game is about cooldowns. If Zed uses ulti, he's not a threat for you. If Malphite uses ulti, he's not a threat for you. But I want you to play very differently when Zed has ulti and he's looking to ulti you versus when he's already wasted it on one of your teammates. Or if you have flash and you can flash away from Malphite ulti, I don't want you to be too scared of Malphite. Stuff like that. There needs to be kind of conditionals in your gameplay that makes you have and develop a basic understanding of what threats the enemy has and how to play around it and how to play max range of those threats. And if you start to do that, you're better than 99% of silver players. And then we work a little bit on the attack move and the kiting as well. And we are not too delusional. We take responsibility and we work on ourselves. We're out of silver in no time. And then we're on to gold. So gold, quite similar to silver, just a little bit better. We're still overgrouping a lot. I'd say gold is especially the elo where you really want to start working on the resource maxing. What do I mean by that? That means that you're looking at the whole map, where you can find resources. You're like kind of like a hoover. You're running around the map, you're taking mid waves, you're taking jungle camps, you're taking bot waves, you're taking wherever CS and resources that you can find. You're the ADC, you're the carry, and you play for farm. And you know what we use that farm for? We play for item spikes. What does that mean? An item spike is when you exactly hit the item and the enemy team hasn't hit their items yet. That means that you're spiking, you're stronger than them. We want to abuse that to fight and actually play for a big advantage. Good to also develop some more introspection in this elo, as this is where the casual player kind of falls off and more people that are more hardcore and more invested starts to get in. And to continue improving at this point, it's really important that we're able to kind of look within, think about what do we struggle with, what can we do better, think about every single game. You should come out of the game and you should think to yourself, what could I have done better that game? And if you have something every single game that you feel like you could have done better, that's great. Then you're doing good and you're on the right path. In this elo, I really don't want to see you play with locked cam anymore. We should play unlocked screen. And we should work on map awareness. If you're still a locked cam Andy, please just play 20 normal games, play some ARAMs with unlocked screen, hold spacebar a ton, and just kind of use that as like your training wheels, just holding spacebar, which centers the camera on you, and you're gonna be golden, buddy. You're gonna be golden. You're gonna feel really great. Then jungle tracking. We need to start working on jungle tracking a little bit as well. Just understand that when enemy jungler clears from one side to the other, he's going to, like, if he clears from top, he's going to end up on bot. If he clears from bot, he's going to end up on top. And as long as we know that basic info and we know that he's ready to gank you at around 315, if he does full clear, and he's ready to gank you at around 230, 240, if he does 3 camps, then you're going to be golden there and just, you know, use your wards. And good champions for gold, Misfortune, Jinx, Ashe, very similar. These good scaling, easy to play champions are going to be great for you. Platinum. Platinum is where you can start introducing more harder to play champions such as Ezreal, Draven, Kalista, is where I'd start to think about these champions. I still wouldn't fully recommend them unless you're already quite good at them, but it's where I'd start to think about playing them. Mechanics starts to get a lot better in Platinum, but the ego is also where, I'd say Platinum is where the ego starts. The ego grows, it grows, it grows, but Platinum is where it starts. And if we can squish it as it starts, that's going to be great. Champion pool starts to matter a little bit more in Platinum as people are starting to play a bit better the matchups. I'd still work on getting push every matchup you can, but people will have, if they have a stronger matchup than you, they will maybe look to punish you. So in, for example, gold or silver, even if you're playing a losing matchup, it shouldn't really matter because they won't really understand how to win the matchup. But once you're getting to platinum, emerald, diamond, people will understand that, okay, if I'm playing Kalista Pike and you're playing Jinx, probably you get so we should just destroy you early game. Once you start to play these hard matchups, Platinum and above, I'd really recommend you to start respecting more, start understanding that some lanes you just can't play for push, and also trying to just increase your matchup knowledge. This is a really good time and space to try to work on understanding what champions are strong and when and why, how do these champions win trades, how do I win trades on my champion versus their champion, and asking yourself all these questions will just help you incredibly. We also want to continue working on jungle tracking. If you're still dying to jungle ganks, that's a problem. Look at your last 10 games. Did you die to a jungle gank? That's a problem. We need to work on that. Teamfight awareness and threat analysis, very similar to what I said earlier. We should be getting better and better at teamfighting, but we still need to work on threat analysis, as that's the crux of all teamfighting. We need to understand exactly when we can go aggressive, when we have to play really safe. We should never be the first one dying in a teamfight. That means that we're playing way too aggressive, and if we're always the last one alive, then maybe you can see if you could have done more damage. So whichever one of the sides of the spectrum you feel like you identify it too much as, either like very passive or very aggressive, I would try to think about, what does my team fights look like? Do I feel like I'm never doing enough damage, or do I feel like I'm always dying first? If you're playing way too aggressive, we gotta tone it down. If you're playing too passive, we gotta tone it up and figure out, how can we do more damage? What am I so scared of? Am I justifiably scared of these things, or am I just scared of ghosts? A lot of players are just scared of ghosts. They just see enemy champions and they think scary without really thinking about what is the enemy champion capable of doing. So we should stay humble, keep working and improving, and don't blame your team, and we'll get you out of Platinum in no time, buddy. Emerald. So the elo is getting bigger and bigger. Many people say that Emerald is the most annoying, toughest, worst elo to play in. And after having played there for a little bit on my Driven Only account, I can understand what they mean. It's a tough place to be. I'd say working on your mental is key here, because this is where you truly start to get tested by the real freaky freaks that are in this elo. There are so many losers, there's so many weirdos, there's so many people that just want to bring you down, so you got to be able to stay up. You got to be able to stay positive, stay disciplined, and keep trying to improve. They're still lacking some fundamentals and essentials that they can work on, but once you're getting to Emerald, I would start working on more specific details. I would watch high elo streamers and content creators. I'd work on getting to 8 to 9 CS per minute every single game, and really starting to develop that good level of consistency, that I'm a good state in every single game I play. I would think about the games where everything went wrong and game went to shit. What happened? What did I do wrong? What could I have done better? And I would look at the games where I failed to carry. What went wrong there? What could I have done better? Was it just an unlucky game, or was there actual things that I could really learn from that game and that I could do better to carry in the next game? I'd also work on getting good recalls in. A lot of Emerald players still struggle a lot with tempo and overstaying. They do not understand that if you need to base, do not hit tower. Do not hit tower if you need to base. It's always bad. Never worth to stay for plate if it f***s your tempo. Never worth. Tempo is more important than anything, and as you get higher and higher elo, if you waste your tempo and you get delayed, better and better players will punish it more and more. If you do these things, we'll get you out of Emerald instantly. Let's get you right into Diamond. Diamond, mental is insanely bad. Maybe even worse than Emerald, not sure. It's a tough competition. I'd say work on your mental and you're better than 95% of the players there. Don't soft int, don't troll, don't AFK, and take regular breaks. And you're already more human than most of the people in this ELO. Find when your peak performance is and try to play on those hours. We are getting to the peak of League of Legends performance. So I would really start to think about, when am I playing at my best? How can I play at my best consistently? And how many hours am I able to play at my best? So for me, I'm a morning bird. I like waking up early. I feel the best in the mornings. So when I was doing my rank 1 climb, I always played in the mornings, and then I had a Smurf, a second account, that I would play on in the afternoons and evenings. And I would play 4 or 5 games on my main every morning. And then once I lost a few games, or I just was starting to feel a bit tired, like I was playing like insane, and if I felt like I was only playing great or good, I stopped playing. That was how I did it. Of course, you can spam games more if you want, but I would really consider trying to just do peak performance to keep climbing. Consider taking individual coaching. I offer coaching. Of course, this is not just an ad for me, but I think once you're Diamond, that's where individual coaching really starts to be actually quite useful, because your issues start to become so specific that you can't really just watch champion guides, you can't really watch just normal educational content, because most of it will be too generalized and not specific enough for you. So I would continue watching a lot of content in general though, but maybe more pro player POVs, as high elo streamers would be great, and just in general trying to watch better and better players, trying to watch them quite actively, like active learning. You're watching the players, but you're not just brain AFK. You're thinking, what could I do? Like, what do I do that they don't do? And what do they do that I don't do? Those are the two questions you should really ask yourself, because they kind of tell you all you need to know. They should be doing a lot of things that you aren't doing, and they're probably doing a few things that they're probably not doing a few things that you are doing. So they're making less mistakes, doing better plays. So if you can try to think of how you can implement that in your game, that's going to help you out a lot. And this is also where you should really limit your champion pool. If I'm seeing you play more than 3-4 champions, I'm pretty unhappy. I'd really like to see 2 to 3 champions that you feel like are your killer champs. Those are your ELO picks. Those are champions that you are going to 1v9 on and be completely chilling on and just take over the game with. And if you have those, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. So for Diamond, develop confidence, drop the arrogance. We don't need the arrogance, we don't need the ego. You should believe in your ability to improve, but don't delude yourself into thinking that you're the GOAT. You're not the GOAT, buddy. There are a trillion Diamond players just like you. Stay humble, keep learning, and we'll get you right into Master. Now, Master. This is the freakiest ELO that I've ever played in. I don't know how Riot managed to do it, but there are a lot of weird people in Master that just want to ruin your day, ruin your games, and ruin your life. So how do we escape Master, you might ask? First of all, dodging. Dodging is still hilariously OP. If you have a game that looks completely lost in champ select, let's say you have a bad matchup plus bad team comp. Those are like, for me, there's like 3 keys of dodging. I would always recommend dodging if you have bad matchup plus bad team comp. I would always recommend dodging if you're filled to a role that you can't play. And I would recommend dodging if you're filled to a role that you can play, but you have bad team comp. That means in all 3 of these, it's like, in the second one, you're probably going to grease the game down, so you're going to lose. But in the first and the third one, the problem is that our team is probably going to lose, but we're not going to be able to carry because we either have a bad matchup or we're filled to a role that we can't carry as hard as we normally would. So I would recommend dodging. It's a silly game mechanic. I hope they nerf it, but you know, it is what it is. If you want to get the biggest advantage that you can, you have to take the tools that you're given, right? And that's a tool that Riot has still given many, many players. I'd love for them to remove it because I don't think it's a good mechanic, but it is what it is. In Master, we really have to start min-maxing resources. If we make one mistake, one big mistake, usually it's GG. Usually it's GG. I think you need to understand that you can carry and believe in yourself and your own ability to improve. You should still have hope that the enemy can throw, but the higher elo you get, the better and better people get at closing out games and taking over leads. I'd say Master is somewhere in the middle there, where like once you're in Grandmaster and Challenger, one mistake is actually full GG, but in Master, we're still at an elo where people will kind of throw their leads. But I'd still recommend, if you find that you're making that one big mistake that's making the game really difficult, then let's work on that mistake. You know, just like if you have a game that's like a 40-minute game where you just completely inted one play, just focus on that play, move on from the rest of the 40 minutes. Don't carry baggage from that 40-minute game. Don't think about how it was winnable. It's useless, because we just need to not make that one big mistake, and everything else is going to look really smooth, because the goal and path is consistency. That's what we need. We want to work on 9 to 10 CS per minute every game, find your 2 to 3 champions that are best in the meta and you are best on. These should be your elo keys, as I love to call them. You should feel really confident on these champions. I want you to be queuing up every single game, and you think to yourself, I'm going to play one of these 3 champions, one of these 4 champions, one of these 2 champions, and I'm going to carry no matter what. No matter how freaky my team is, I'm going to carry this game. And if you have that mindset, you're going to do great. I'd also recommend only playing on the hours where you are fresh, you're feeling good. For me, as I said, that's in the morning. For you, it might be in the evening. For you, it might be all day. But I'd recommend to not play all day, every single day, as you'll just go crazy. Grandmaster. I'd heavily consider coaching if you're truly passionate and want to reach Challenger and or go pro. This is where coaching starts to really ramp up in value. You're starting to understand the game at a very deep level. You're starting to understand tempo. You should be becoming extremely efficient in your gameplay. You shouldn't greed, track enemy jungle the whole game, fight only when strong side, respect when weak side. I think the name of the game for climbing from Master to Challenger, a lot of it is strong side and weak side. I think great players, they really understand strong side and weak side. Strong side just means when your jungler's on your side of the map, it's time to fight. It's time to fight. Any fight when your jungler's on the side of the map should be good, and any fight when enemy jungler's on your side of the map and your jungler's not should be bad. AKA weak side and strong side. When you're strong side, play extremely aggressive. When you're weak side, play extremely passive. If you're able to do this yin and yang and balance those out well, you're typically going to get huge leads, because most people in this elo are not just dying 2v2. They're not just dying 2v2, but they might take a bad trade, you might be able to dive them, and usually a lot of the leads that you get is involving other people in the game. That's just how it is in higher elo. That's also why jungle is so OP in high elo, because they get to choose who's strong side and weak side, and they get to control the flow a lot of the game. I think it also in Grandmaster is when you should stop like just playing for farm and start understanding that you need to be willing to drop a wave to move to a fight, but you're understanding the risk versus reward calculation that needs to be made in every play that you make. I think Grandmaster and above, that's when you really start to understand all the risks and all the rewards and how to exactly balance those out to create the best possible game plan always for every single play that you make, to understand like, okay, if I drop a wave, but this can be a kill, or this can be 2 kills, or this can be an objective, that can be worth. Well, in lower elo, it's kind of just like, I just want the default to be go for the CS, go for the guaranteed, because you're not good enough at evaluating these risk versus rewards that well. So if you're not good enough at doing that, just go for the free things, just go for the freebies, you know. And in Grandmaster, the mechanics just needs to be insane. Honestly, the mechanics needs to be insane. You need to click incredibly close to your character, you need to have very accurate clicks, you need to have very high APM, you need to understand enemy champions range very well, you shouldn't have any difficulties kiting, you shouldn't have enemy difficulties spacing enemy ADC, you should be able to bait enemy skill shots by playing on the max range of them, and you should understand how to pressure and how to create space and how to just like posture up in the lane so that you can get pushed that way. I think that's a big part of it. Like, if you understand that you don't need to actually hit the wave to get push, that means you're getting the challenger soon, buddy. You're getting the challenger soon. Because lower elo players, they think you need to push the wave to always get push. That's not how it is. If you're a stronger level 1, you click up in the lane, they have to click back, you got push. GG. I think especially in Grandmaster, Master, Challenger, that starts to be so important. Challenger. So escaping Challenger, I mean, that would be hitting rank 1. How do you hit rank 1 as a Challenger player? I hit rank 1 once in my life, but I was consistently like top 10, top 5, especially when I was trying in solo queue. Been trying a bit less in solo queue now because I'm focusing more on creating educational content for you guys. But I think a really good Challenger player, it just looks like peak consistency. Consistency is key. Play only a few hours a day when full focused. Play on multiple accounts and stop playing as soon as you get emotional or tired. Hard abuse dodging. Dodging is so OP, especially in Challenger. Because so many Challenger games are just lost. They're lost from all the field, or just terrible matchmaking, or someone is like troll picking. If someone troll picks in Challenger, the game's just lost. So dodge that. And you also want to work on understanding every role's purpose in the game and how that harmony looks like. I think once you're Challenger and once you're gonna get like rank 1, I think the difference between like a low Challenger player and a rank 1 player is they kind of understand how every role wants to play. I think usually a really high elo Challenger player that's like top 10 consistently, he understands what every role wants and what every role wants to do, how every role is played optimally. That doesn't mean that he can play every role, but he understands in the game what should happen based on every role wants to do. So top lane, you know, like how does he want this matchup to look? How does my jungler want to play this game? How do we want to play team fights? Because what does my ADC want? You know, it's kind of like this, you know, if you understand how every role wants to interact and what they want, it makes all of the game fall into harmony and everything just kind of makes sense. If you're able to do these things, you can be able to hit rank 1, although keep in mind, hitting rank 1 is extremely difficult. It's the hardest thing to do in League. And even me as a multi-year pro player has only been able to do it once. And I also think it just requires intense focus over the course of months. And it needs you to be really motivated to actually do it. Like, if you don't have the motivation, it's impossible. You need to be extremely motivated because you'll have so many games that are lost regardless if you play like insane. Like, the best you can do is like 60-something% win rate, which means that 30 to 40% of your games are just lost outside of your control, right? So that just means that you need to be extremely disciplined, extremely motivated, and just be able to tank those losses while still playing extremely well, which is difficult. But if you have that motivation, and you have that drive, go for a beast. I'd love to see you get rank 1. And also, get my coaching if you're a Challenger player and you want to hit rank 1. I can help you out. I've helped out a lot of Challenger players, helped out a lot of pro ERL players, and you know, can help you out too, buddy. Help you out too. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and how to climb out of every single elo. This was quite the fun video to record. If you're interested in learning more from me, check out jackspektra.com, where I have the course, coaching, and Patreon for all my elo viewers. Every single elo you can join and be a part of our great community and learn with us and become a better ADC. So yeah, go to jackspektra.com if you want to become a better ADC. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Bye bye.